Hello, another day, another quote. Loneliness, the poverty of self. Solitude, the richness of self. Some people cannot stand being alone. They have to fill their time with other people. Even if it's not other people, it has to be other people fill-ins, such as scrolling through Facebook or social media. They can't stand their own company. They can't stand boredom and stillness. They can't stand sitting with themselves. They don't appreciate alone time. They find themselves feeling lonely unless they are constantly surrounded by at least one other person. Solitude is something different. Some people can spend their entire lives in the absence of others and feel completely content, as if they are not missing a thing. Those people are few and far between because we are, by nature and biology, social creatures. However, they have mastered something that's key to differentiate when trying to figure out why you feel alone. Do you need the people in your life? Or do you want the people in your life? If you have a full sense of self, you know who you are, you know what brings you joy, you know what puts a smile on your face, you know what to do with your time. You have hobbies, activities, interests, values, things that are yours, interests that are yours, activities that are yours, joys that are yours. Reading, drawing, knitting, music, whatever your thing is, that it's your thing. And you can find joy in that thing, gardening, whatever, without the presence of other people because it is yours. You have a good sense of self-worth. You don't need the constant validation of your own worthiness, lovableness, reflected back at you by the acceptance of other people. You're secure in the fact that you are worthy and worth being loved without the literal physical manifestation of other people being in your life. You know that if they showed up, they would want to spend time with you because you're good enough. You enjoy your own company. You like yourself. You have accepted and come to terms with the light and the shadow inside of you. So you like your own company. You like your inner thoughts. You like your inner dialogue. You're not negative self-talking yourself all the time. You're not your worst critic. You're not your worst enemy. You feel quiet and joy and peace and time to pursue your own interests and time to reflect on your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and to to gain insight and relaxation and to make your own choices free of connections and consideration of other people. You have an appropriate amount of space. You love and like yourself. You don't need external validation to know your worth. You have pursuits, interests, activities, opinions, thoughts of your own. You feel strong and independent enough to survive on your own. You don't feel as though if you were left to your own devices for too long, that you are too weak intellectually, mentally, physically, skills to get by in life without some assistance from other people. You have a confidence in your own capacities in all the dimensions, so that when you are left on your own, you don't feel frightened and unsafe. These are all important things to have in order to cultivate the capacity for enjoying solitude, a richness internally, a full, solid, stable self, inside of self, love of life, confidence in your own capacities, etc. All that I mentioned. To feel secure in solitude and safety in solitude and joy in solitude and enjoy your own company. Solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is going off unto yourself for a time to spend time with you because you enjoy doing so. Loneliness, however, can happen in a room filled with people. You can be surrounded with people. You don't even have to be literally alone. Although you often feel literally alone because you're lacking the things that would signify the capacity to have joy in solitude. A strong sense of self, security in your own capacities to care for yourself on all dimensions, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-validation, liking yourself, a core of activities and hobbies and pleasures and pursuits of your own, things that fill you up and you know yourself well enough to know what they are. So you can either be alone, literally, with nobody around and feel quite lonely if you don't have those things to make your self full and rich. It's a poverty of self. And you can be surrounded in other people. And if you lack those things, you may still be feeling lonely despite being surrounded by other people, because, as I've talked about in many other videos, happiness comes from within. Fulfillment and contentment comes from within. Someone cannot reach inside you and make you feel anything. They cannot make you feel whole. They can fill a hole temporarily. They can provide you with distraction. They can provide you with validation. They can provide you with compliments and inspiration and motivation and activities and reassurance and provisions and security and all the things that you may feel that you are incapable of and lacking without the assistance and support of external people. but that only puts a band-aid on the wound. And as soon as that person is gone, their behavior changes, or, they have their own life to tend to. The wound is wide open. You have to heal that wound yourself. You have to come to terms with the skills necessary to be secure and independent. Increasing your own interests, goals, dreams, desires, activities, things that bring you joy when you're by yourself. You have to learn to love yourself and like yourself so you enjoy spending time with yourself. You have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to be able to validate yourself. You have to enjoy looking inside instead of running away from yourself. Try to cultivate the capacity for solitude. Solitude is good for our mental health. Having a little space from others, time to wind down, time of our own, is good for our mental health. Loneliness is detrimental to our mental health. So whether you find yourself in a sea of helpful others, a great social network, or literally isolated, either way, if you find yourself lonely versus in solitude, it is because you have not found the way yet to fulfill you, to feel safe with you, to trust you, to entertain you, to love you, among other things. Seek to fill your own cup first. And you'll feel less lonely when you're alone. And you won't be so dependent on others pouring into your cup. Instead, you'll be able to be alone or in the company of others, and you'll be able to be more selective about who you choose to allow into your life and to keep in your life. You won't need them. You'll want them. And you'll be able to pour back into their cup more fully and honestly and earnestly than in the past. Loneliness is the poverty of self, not necessarily the absence of others. Solitude is the richness of self. Somebody that you really want to go hang out with. Being you. Make yourself somebody you really want to go hang out with. Love you guys. Good morning. Goodbye. Peace out.